as mentioned, Des and I are based at SA Sugar Research Institute in Mount Eichornia, north of Durban. And for a number of years now, we've been funded by Working for Water to mass rear weed biocontrol agents. These are tested by ALC, and then once they get release and warrant mass rear, we've been doing it now for a number of years. I normally do a year-by-year update, but this year we decided to do the last 3 years, what we've done, how many we've released and where. And last year we underwent quite a large facility upgrade. And we also experienced our various problems with labour, like just everybody else does, with poor quality plants and other invasive insects in our cultures. So what we've done, I'm just going to look at what we've done this year so far. We've put up some new portable greenhouses, and these have been really beneficial. They're far bigger than the ones we had previously, and our staff have done it all on their own. They've erected them. And last year I said that we've been given this area by SASRI management to erect ponds, and that was earmarked, and that's now also been done. We've had a fence just for safety reasons because there are children living on the property, and we've actually managed to fit in 30 ponds there. So at present we full to capacity with ponds, and we're running 86 of these at the moment. We've also been able to get our own nursery table. We found some frames that were lying around, so we can do our own cuttings. We've got Parthenium on there for a rust, so that's been, and it's fully automatic irrigation. Then the number of, we've over the last 3 years, we've produced a total of 550,000 plus agents, of which 84% are for aquatic weeds. This is our biggest demand, especially for water hyacinth, and probably at the detriment of some of our terrestrial ones. Firstly, in the Lantana, just looking at where we've released, of course, because we're based in KZN, and I suppose we are, advice is easy to get the insects out, and we've got a good structure, we've got a lot of good cooperators in KZN, but we've covered quite a few areas in Limpopo, Kronkelspruit, even Gauteng, Free State, Eastern Cape. We've done releases there recently, and it's going very well in the Cape, especially on the Deep River. We've got some very good cooperators there, and Martin took some of our agents to the Congo for late mango. I'll also look at various problems we've experienced in our different cultures. Acrylotosis is not one of the insects that we contracted to rear, but we get them occurring in our ponds, and in 2012 we sent out something like 40,000. So if they're there, we collect them up and send them out. We've done Lataba is at Makatsi Spruit in Kruger Park, Bronco Spruit, also quite a lot locally, especially on the Ngani River complex, and down in Cape Town as well. Recently, in November, we acquired the Cornox culture, and so went out for release in January, and we've actually got a large stock of poppers at the moment, so those will be going on shortly. And the culture is doing very well. We have some other cultures, excuse me, we've had some dismal failures, which I will highlight just now, so but this one is doing particularly well. It's quite happy with the conditions we're providing, others are less appreciative. Problems we've had, because we're running a large number of water hyacinth ponds and the agents are so destructive, we have to continuously keep replacing, replenishing the plants with new material. And we've got a couple of sites around Durban. We've even been as far as Wartburg in the Midlands to collect. And one of our very good collecting sites at Isipingo, near the old airport site, has just now, this last few months, been hammered by the water hyacinth moth, Nafrograpta, which is gratifying to see, but now we've had to go and look elsewhere, and it's very, very destructive. And for the first time, lots of us have been able to see what the moths look like. Near the farmers, this has been our biggest output. We've released 195,000 in the last 3 years. Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Latin, KZN, Eastern Cape, and also down in the Western Cape. And we've covered a number of rivers there, and quite recently now in the Plain River area near Stanford, and they really work very well. I will also highlight some of the recent successes because it just makes it far more interesting. Durban has an area quite a lot as well, and we're getting lots of new requests for these insects. One of our recent successes has been down the south coast. Many will know the Salvinia holiday resort. It's 161 kilometers south of Durban, and it was 100% covered. This is what it's approximately 7,000 roughly square meters. It was 100% covered. And we released over a 9-week period, and from June to August, and we could put in 10,000 weevils. That's what it looked like in April before releases commenced. And we had a lot of problems from the Salvinia complex, from the golf course. They wanted all kinds of they wanted to spray. They said no to try Biocontrol. They wanted guarantees and compensation if things went wrong. Anyway, eventually convinced them. And by September, this is what the plants were looking like. October, and by December, we got a letter of thanks from the golf course to say it was back to its original pristine condition. So, and very recently now been some germination of seedlings, but we're going to just go back. And things like this just open people's eyes, and Martin also helped by writing a letter for us to say these things are not dead, these insects were not, would not harm any other plants, the golf course, turf, so that was a huge success, and I think we've won them over. Certivagus, cultures have done quite well. We've released 75,000 in the last 3 years. A number of areas as well. Limpopo, Chromolaena, Parthenium. Al's got a new site in his area that we're sending next week. Some have been such poor Piersburg, they got impatient and sprayed it, but we've seen some good clearing in a lot of these areas. This is just another small example. This is in Hillcrest, which is 29 kilometers west of Durban. Not a very large. This is the new Hillcrest Hospital on your left, and there's an eco estate. And I got a call from the lady who does the clearing, and she does the gardening and maintenance, and she clears up the aliens. And she requested agents. They were collected at SASRI. And we released over a 3-month period. And it was just a small release. It was 150 and then 250. And she phoned me 2 weeks ago and said, was there a month ago? And Salvinia's getting worse. Can you come and have a look? So off I went. Unfortunately, I should have got a photograph, but it was almost like 99.9% clear. And the plants that were around the edges, 90% of them were floating below the water level. And that's what I just collected a handful, what I could find. Took them home, and that evening there were 7 certivagus running around on those plants. And when I collected them, you couldn't even see them. They were hiding away in the roots and under the leaves. So I think those plants are absolutely history. So it just, and it literally, we released it over 3 months, and it took about 14 months to clear. I mean, it was quite a small release. So that was quite nice. We had a huge problem with our certivagus culture. It got going a bit late this year, because we only released during summer. And we had this water lily leaf cutter in our ponds. And it was always been there for a number of years. And just suddenly last year it started getting worse, and Martin Hill kindly identified it for us. And it actually cuts pieces off the Salvinia leaves and makes this little coop. And your plants start looking like that. And we have 3 very large ponds where we keep all our stock plants to feed our ponds. And that's what eventually happens. We just get everything simple. We tried hand removal, and then Angela suggested a BT spray, and we sprayed a couple of times. We collected new field material, and it's all disappeared also. But things like this can set you right back. Then Rica, which again we'll speak about later, on Pereskia, just quite a bad coastal weed. It's a cactus. This is not the best agent, but it has some kind of suppressing effect. We've released 18,500. Of course, mostly in the KZN area because it is a huge problem there, and we've had quite a lot of establishment. And people are saying it's having an effect. Richards Bay Minerals, the ecologist, is definitely helping in their area. In Yellow Park, there's the Steinbach Nature Reserve. They're seeing an effect. And in the Durban Harbour area on the bluff, we've released now close to 5,000 of these people, so there's a huge area of Pereskia there. But Glenda's got some nice new agents in quarantine, which I think will knock spots off this one. And then Camara is the Chromolaena agent. When I started 6 years ago, this is what we read exclusively on Chromolaena, did huge releases. And then it was terminated in 2011, and this was the last of our releases. And it seems to prefer young seedlings in the shade, and that's its niche. And it's still in the field today, and I'm sure it's having some. Lantana agents have not been great. We haven't had that much success with them, especially Aiken in the last year. It's been quite dismal. But we've done some releases. We need to do assessments of those areas, which we're going to persevere with that on. We've been given some, this white Lantana now, which is a better host plant, and we're busy bulking up on those plants. It's a PTL baller, and it has been shown to have an effect, quite a severe effect on the plant if there are a good number of forms. Longitossus, this is the flea beetle that feeds on the roots of Longitossus, of Lantana. It feeds on the leaves and then lay the eggs at the base of the plant, and they feed on the rootlets. And we've had some establishment of those, especially in the eastern area. We've definitely found it there. We've also in demand for supplying various agents for research projects, especially near Katana on water hyacinth. Just Fitz is one that they took a lot of our week off, 26,000 in the last 3 years. So that's also, at least able to provide. It may just be a few, like 40 anthenomas for people who need to write up their master's projects and just need a few insects. So we supply those as well. We're running a team of 10 people at the moment. We started just with one. We've now got 10. We've got 2 vacant posts, so we've got 8 people at the moment. But I did an exercise because it is a capacity building program, and to look at where the staff we've had through the system are today, because that's always quite interesting, and it's of importance to working for water. Oh, and sorry, I missed that one. We're also going to the Parthenium rust dissolve that's on our program probably for the new contract. Okay. 6 of our staff members. Now, when we employ them, we insist on a matric, a biology, a bonus if they've got a driver's license, because we also have to go out to the field. And 6 of our staff have moved into permanent posts in our insect rearing unit, which does, they rear the sugarcane moth, and also do biological control on that. So it's a permanent post, and it's an opportunity for 6 staff out of 22 that I've looked at in the 6 years that I've been there have moved into the insect unit. 1 has gone into the entomology insecticide program, and then he moved to an FET college as a lecturer. And then when he left, one of the other staff moved into his post, so it created an opportunity for one of them. One mentioned we have technical teams at SASRI who do, you can book them, they do field surveys or field work. 1 moved into there. He then went to ALC, worked there for a while, University of Zululand, and he's now a paint supply officer at Ilova Sugar down the South Coast in KZN. And 1 moved to SASRI, he's a nematology technician. 1 moved to the Morgan where they do sampling for their trials, they analyse the trial results, and he's now working for BHP Billiton as a laboratory technician in Chromolaena. It's a coal mine. And then 1 of our ladies went to a plant breeding program on one of our satellite farms, and 1 went to Department of Home Affairs and Border Control, and then 1 of that particular lady was also being on the KZN borders, monitoring borders, and it's good because they've had experience with weed biocontrol. And then we had 1 who went to Rhodes University. She's sitting right in the front, and she's now working for water as a biocontrol officer. 2 have gone to citrus research and doing very well there. 1, she came with a biotech degree, an HTE, and she's now teaching at a local primary school. She's teaching life sciences there. And this guy she left for health reasons. He was an epileptic and just stressed with Durban heat, and his incidents getting worse and worse. So he left the show and is starting his own logistics business with his brother. We had one who actually had a master's degree. He left to go and do his PhD at UKZN, and then his supervisor left, and he is now quality control consultant for an air conditioning company. One relocated. She's not employed now, but she went up to Angola. She actually did our economist culture, but unfortunately there's no bugweed up there. This guy, we know he's employed in Mpumalanga, but we're very company where. And then one, we don't know, we've lost track. So I think that of those 22 have been through the system, they've all done well. All our staff have, except for 2 new recruits we employed last year, have been through the roads. With Biocontrol course with Martin, and we also get capacity working, water capacity building students from UKZN and Maritzburg twice a year, so they can gain some experience. And we had one unfortunate who was deceased in an armed robbery. So thank you for working for us, for your funding, and also for SASRI for putting up with us. And thanks very much. And they do have reference.
I want to ask you, is there still a demand for their biocontrol agents that you're currently rearing? I sent around a questionnaire and asked people, are there any new biocontrol agents that we should consider to rear in the future? And then, are there any new weeds we should consider and biocontrol agents on those? And it's the normal thing, you send out a lot of questionnaires and you get a few back. So it's just exactly the same as other people when it comes to filling in forms. But yeah, we got 5 replies from the ARC to when we just, this is for the whole questionnaire. And the first question is, should we continue with what we're rearing? And the alien weed species are in the left column. The biocontrol agents we're rearing are in the next column. And then just what the people said, Y for yes, N for no, and if there's nothing there was no comment about it. And some people just didn't want to comment with it, so that's where a question mark is. And looking at that, it's Logitasis was back to the guys here that are here now today, they're the ones that are working on it, so they wanted, so there's also another year, another Y for yes over there. The response I got from Working for Water, they had 2 no's there for that, but that again would be open to debate. Let's see what people think. But looking at that, especially the water weeds, there's a big demand for us to keep on with those, and also most of the terrestrial weed biocontrol agents. Enrica, after Jens giving his talk, that we might have to lower our production of that in favour of the new agents when they become available. Again, the 2 left-hand columns are again the same weeds that we're looking at now, but those are the new the insects that hopefully will be released in September or get released permits. The Pereskia is Korea of theirs, which we saw a little bit about earlier this week, and you'll see it later. I've got Chromolaena, a little moth called odorata, and then for Parthenium, the stratiotes, and Smithgrinix. But Smithgrinix is going to come out at the end of 2014, but that still gives us time to plan rearing and so on. And then on Eichornia, a little Delphacid megamelis is also a new agent that we can look at. So that's what people are asking for. And then we've lost the last, sorry. The last slide I've combined on the other side of the table. So, we also asked, are there new weeds we need to target? We've got claw creeper, there's the one, and hypercosmia, there's a biocontrol agent that we can rear on it, and also Tamarix, and there's 2 biocontrol agents on that. So yeah, you know, if we've got to do all of that, we probably haven't got the space at the moment. So we're going to have to be quite clever, and also rely on the experts, you guys, the experts, opinion on you know which are the best areas, which ones will give us the best bucks for our money. So yeah, I think if there are any questions or discussion, we'd be happy now to answer them.
Thank you, Denise and Des, for your lovely presentations. We will now allow some questions that can both be directed to Des or Denise.
I just want to understand, looking at the release sites that we have throughout the country. So what I want to understand is, let me say, production or the amount of agent that you are mastering. If you are mastering enough agents, or you are under mastering, looking at the requests from the regions. We may be under requesting, or you are mastering agents that maybe at the end of the year you find maybe, for example, you expected maybe the requests from the regions to be 10, and then you only maybe get requests maybe 2, and then at the end maybe you find that you are mastering a lot of agents, but there's not enough requests from us to release in the site.
Yeah. We've got such a backlog of orders we still have to fill in, so we are getting great requests. There's some regions that aren't asking as much as other regions, but we really we're not producing insects and not knowing where they go to. We've got to actually. Denise has got a whole roster of people that she supplies, and any new people that ask for insects get put in that roster and they get supplied on a like rotation basis. But yeah, we've got huge demand for the insects.
Okay, maybe this generally, let me finish up my question. It's a question maybe which it will be like I'm asking myself, since I'm also from the organization, which in terms of the feedback to SASRI, in terms of the impact that the agents are making on release sites. I know there are different successes in different areas, but I just wanted to understand if there is a proper way of getting feedback to you, or you struggle maybe to get feedback. I just wanted to understand if that gap is properly closed, or there's still some improvement that need to be done.
Yeah, I think we get great feedback. When we give insects to a new person or for a new site, we normally ask for a GPS point and also a fixed point photograph. The fixed point photograph allows us to confirm that the weed that we're targeting is the actual one that the insects are good on. Because quite often we actually had the wrong kind of insect asked for because the people couldn't identify the weed properly. So we need to check that. And then we've got some people that send regular photographs back, fixed point photographs. That could be improved with some of the other sites. But yeah, we get quite nice feedback.
Yeah, Jess, I'm interested with Anthronomus that you said it's well established now in a lot of areas, that yet you still have it as 2 yeses for continuing mass rearing, which is difficult in the facility. Would it be better to now just move into the field and recollect there for redistribution?
We could do that in southern Natal, but if you remember Denise's map of the distribution where we have released, there's big gaps in northern Natal, Mpumalanga and so on, and we'd like to get more sites established in the bugweed areas so that you don't have to travel so far to relocate insects. So I think, I'd like to see a little bit a better spread of established insects before we start doing relocation. while we're going for that question, John's question was also very pertinent. In a lot of our water hyacinth sites that we're actually releasing now, or that we've released in, are populations of the bug, the weevils, the neoptyna, are as high as in our ponds. So people can actually go to those locations now and collect their own infested plants and bring it to take to uninfested areas. And we've got probably 4 or 5 sites like that where relocation can now take place instead of augmentation of the beetles.
Thanks very much for the opportunity. Mine is just to try and understand in terms of releasing the biocontrol agents. Are these the silver bullets? Do they really target one species and one species only? Because I think the goal is not, in as much as we would like to deal with invasive alien plants, on the other hand, we would like to conserve other important species. Are there any experiences where you have come across certain agents not only targeting a specific species that is meant for, but rather focusing on many other species that are important? Because I think that is very much important for us in terms of dealing with the problem of invasive alien plants. Yes.
Yeah, when we get the insects, they've already gone through a whole screening process against other plants. And that's what the ARC do. The experts in the weed biocontrol section of the ARC do all these high specificity tests for every agent. And then only if they're shown to be very specific to the target alien weed, then the report gets written up by the expert. That gets peer reviewed, and then by other external experts. If they're happy with it, then it goes to the provinces to comment on. And if they're happy with it, then public opinion is asked for. And if they're happy with it, then only the release permit is released. I think that's the process. Or Martin can correct me if I'm wrong. But when we get the insect, all that post-specificity testing is done, and we are 99.9% sure that it won't attack anything else.
Thank you very much for the talk. And my question is basically on the new species that you are actually targeting to masquerade on. And I was just looking at the tamarix, and particularly you've chosen to sort of like to masquerade on tamarix ramosissima. And the two beetles that you've chosen, is it like already gone into screening for the host specificity test, or it's just projects that are like undergoing, and then as soon as all the work has been done, then you'll start wearing on?
Yeah, speak to Marcus. Can Marcus give us an answer? He's right next to you. Who's the one that asked for it? Yeah?
It's a prospective project at the moment. So Galora's done the molecular work, and we'll speak later in the week about that, to say that the target species, Camus chromolaena, is basically sitting naked away from our own tamarix. That was the main question there. And we are looking at the Americans who have used those two species of beetles in the United States. And that's my proposal, is that we consider them. But obviously they'll have to go through that screening system before we consider it. And to reiterate what you said about the previous question, we've never made a mistake in this country yet. We have not had a serious non-target effect. And biocontrol, I think, should be very proud of that.
Okay.